completed both the privacy and the records management engagements. And this leaves one audit remaining from each of the 2021 and the 21-22 audit plans. The Managing Labor Relations audit is underway, and we are hoping to start the IT asset management audit this fall once our assigned auditor has finished a similar engagement. So with respect to the current year's plan, we are currently conducting a risk assessment, and we're working with management to understand the key risks to the board and selecting engagements to address these risks. This will culminate in the development of the 2-year REAT plan, which will be presented to the audit committee for approval when it's ready. Now, throughout the year, we'll also be engaging in follow-up activities. This will include updating our register of audit findings to capture any progress that management has made to address these findings. In addition, where management has already implemented the action plan designed to address the findings, we will be conducting some follow-up procedures to validate this implementation. Now, finally, our other piece of work for the year is the REAT annual report. So that's been included on Appendix 1 to my update, and it starts on page 12. So this is something that we intend to issue annually going forward to all boards in our region, as it will help us to better conform to both internal audit standards as well as the regional internal audit mandate. So the introduction to the report on page 12 notes that the purpose of the report is to share information that the standards and mandate require us to communicate, in addition to some other relevant information. So the next section introduces the regional internal audit mandate. Now, as we expect, there'll be some upcoming changes to the audit committee membership across the region. We'll be bringing the mandate to the audit committee for review and approval once the new term of office begins. This will help to inform new members of the purpose, authority, and responsibility of the REAT. Now, the structure and staffing section on page 13 gives an overview of our team and outlines where we do bring in extra resources. Now, further down, one of the items that we are specifically required to report on annually is confirmation of our organizational independence from the boards that we serve. The next section outlines some of the topics that we received training in last year. So all team members met the annual professional development requirements of our respective accounting and internal audit designations. Further down the report on page 14, I outlined the requirements for our quality assurance and improvement program. So we are in the process of finishing our internal self-assessment. And once we've had a chance to identify all of the action plans that we'll need to address any gaps that we find, we'll allow some time to implement these action plans, and then we'll undertake an external assessment. So this annual report is actually one of the action plans that we identified early in our internal review process. Now, the results of our quality assurance activities will be shared with the audit committee as part of future annual reports when they're available. Now, finally, the last section provides just some basic information on our planning process and the related guidance provided by the ministry. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to present both the update and the annual report, and I'd be happy to take any questions that the committee has.
Anybody have a question to Paula?
Yes, Laura, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Laura.
Through the chair, the one thing that I'm wondering about if the IT asset management audit hasn't begun, is that correct?
Through the chair, yes, that's correct. We are still waiting to begin that one.
Okay, so will that impact significantly your ability to provide the minimum two audits per school year that the Ministry of Education requires?
So through the chair, we're hoping that we'll be able to make additional inroads this year. So, last year between the IT security audit as well as the privacy and records management audits, we were able to get through 3 engagements. So we're hoping, that we'll be able to do the same this year. Hopefully we'll be able to finish at least the 2 old engagements as well as get a good start on the new engagements that are identified through our planning process. Hopefully more than that, but that would be the minimum expectation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Frank.
My question is in reference to prioritizing those items in terms of importance. Do you rank them in a certain way, or are they assessed in terms what is more critical or least critical?
Through the chair, so we're basically taking our engagements based on right now the availability and the scheduling. Because negotiations are coming up, it's important that we are finishing the labor relations engagement as soon as possible. Will we still are able to complete that and get the attention of the staff that we need? And then IT asset management. I know there has been some turnover in IT as well. So we are hoping that as soon as we are able to get in there, that we can get in there. It's just that we did spend as well. We spent a lot of time working on the the cybersecurity engagement last year. So we also wanted to make sure, again, while we're addressing the risks, we also want to make sure that we're also not overwhelming the departments that we're working with.
Sorry, yes, and that is important. Just recently, I heard on the radio that there was some cyber threats in the States, particularly for school boards, because they knew that they were linked into other third-party sources for online payment systems. So that kind of triggered my curiosity around that and the importance of that. Well, hopefully, it probably come up here before in terms of having that occurred in some school boards, but I wonder if there was a little bit of a concern around that as well. But thank you for your answer.
Okay. All right. Anybody else having a question? Looks like no other questions. So Julie, you want move
Sure.
forward? Move forward.
Thank you. Yes, we're moving on to section H, which is trustee committee administration reports requiring action. And H1 is the audit service plan for the year ended August 31st, 2022. If we could get receipt of the report.
To receive this report, moved by Laura. Okay. Anybody oppose? None. It's carried.
Thank you. So through the chair this evening, we do have guests here from our external auditing firm, BDO Canada, and Superintendent Hester will introduce our guests and the report.
Thank you, Julie. Through the chair, the report H1 on page 16 is the presentation of the audit planning report for the year ended August 31st, 2022. That is the year that we've just kind of completed and now working through our year-end processes. This afternoon, we are pleased to introduce to you Marcus Sconsi and Mohammed Solman from BDO Canada, and they are our senior members of our external audit firm. They've already completed the March 31st provincial consolidation audit requirements with us and have remotely completed most of our interim audit requirements for this year so far. Mr. Chair, I'm pleased to pass over the presentation to Marcus and Mohammed, and they'll walk through the large plan that's attached to this report. Marcus, I'm pleased to turn over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brian. And through you, Mr. Chair, we'll keep this high level, knowing that the document was circulated ahead of time, and we're happy to answer any and all questions at the conclusion or even during our presentation. So I'm going to start us off just walking through the audit timeline, which I think is the first important page to go over. It highlights some of the key dates. We've completed our interim audit testing, which was done in late July. We're presenting the report to this committee today. Final field work is scheduled from October the 17th to 28th. And then we expect to have a clearance meeting with management towards the end of that time frame. We'll then present our audit findings to this committee on the 8th of November with the expectation of releasing the financial statements with the signed auditor's report on the 29th of November. Auditor's responsibilities with respect to financial statements. I won't go through that page. It is there for information purposes and just to cover the distinction between the auditor's responsibilities and management's responsibilities. The next page is on fraud, actually the next couple of pages on fraud, which we do talk about with management and with this committee at each meeting. Just a reminder that audits are not designed to detect fraud, but we do have to respond to fraud in the event that it does occur. We've had preliminary discussions with management, and through those discussions, we are not aware of any fraud that may impact our audit at this time. as we did last year, we'll circulate an email to committee members subsequent to this meeting, which will give you a forum to reach out to us in the event that you do have any concerns or are aware of any actual or suspected fraud, and that will give you a more confidential forum to have those conversations with us. I'm going to pass it over to Mo now, who's going to go through the significant audit risks and our planned approach in each area.
Thank you, Marcus. So some of the key significant risks that we will be testing as part of our audit include complex information technology environment. It's the risk that the complexity of the information systems, mainly IREN and K212, as well as the prevalence of automated processes and controls, some of which we will be relying upon in our audit. Our audit approach will include testing the in-depth documentation, reviewing the documentation with management, going over the processes and controls in each financial reporting cycle and performing a walkthrough, as well as BDO's audit team includes a certified information system specialist who will be working with the audit team to complete the audit testing over the computer dependent controls. In addition, there are two more controls that, key risks that we'll be testing, which are grant revenue and grant receivables. There's a risk that grant revenue may be incorrectly deferred into future periods or recognized in the current year in error, or to manage current year results. So we will be confirming all grant revenue and grant receivables with the ministry and ensure the amounts recorded exists, complete, and is recorded accurately. In addition, all grant activity is tracked in a continuity schedule, and significant amounts will be vouched to contracts and agreements. The final key significant risk is management override of control, which due to its authority, management is in a unique position to override internal controls, which can potentially result in misleading or inaccurate information. For this, we'll be testing the appropriateness of journal entries, as well as testing for any biases or significant transactions that we become aware of that might be outside the normal course of operations. In addition to these two significant risks, there's two other areas of audit focus, payroll and capital asset acquisitions. Payroll is just mainly because of the magnitude of the payroll expenditures at the board. We'll be using a combined approach of testing controls and analytical procedures, which include analysis of related year-end accruals. Capital asset acquisitions, risk is due to the magnitude of the board's capital asset additions, both purchase and under construction, which pose risk related to the accuracy and capital classification of the capitalized costs. And our audit procedures include substantive and analytical testing of both the construction in progress as well as the capital asset additions. And for amortization, we'll be performing reasonability testing and reviewing for indicators of impairment. I'll pass it on to Marcus to go ahead with the rest of the report.
Okay, thanks, Mo. So just going through the final few pages, our preliminary audit materiality has been set at $17.5 million, which is based on 1.75% of expenditures, and our performance materiality has been set at $15.75 million, which is based on 90% of that materiality number. We then have a number of slides that just talk to our audit process. Those are there for information purposes. The slides I did want to cover, there's a slide on an update that's coming soon to our audit process. This will impact next year end, and it is CAS 315 or Canadian Auditing Standard 315. It will require us to change the way we do our risk assessment when we conduct our audit planning, and we will confirm any related changes to you during this meeting next year based on the adoption of CAS 315. The next item I wanted to cover is the spotlight on the public sector slide, which is PS 3280. That is a new standard. It is also in effect for your next year end. So this is not a 2022 item. It's August 31st, 2023. This requires all public sector entities to record a liability for any legal obligation with respect to the retirement of a tangible capital asset. And it is expected to have a fairly significant impact across the public sector. We have had planning discussions with management, and we will continue to do so. And we will report back to this committee in subsequent meetings once we have refined our scoping as well as our estimated measurement of this liability for next year end. And then we have a few appendices to the letter, our engagement letter, which is there to review the terms and conditions that have been signed off on between BDO and management. Appendix B is our audit fees, which we're required to disclose to the audit committee each year, and that is as agreed upon per the RFP process. And then Appendix C is our public sector accounting standards update, which goes through some of the upcoming changes to the accounting standards that the board follows, the most significant being the asset retirement obligation standard that I just walked through. There are a couple of other less significant items that are upcoming as well, and we'll bring those to your attention in due course as well. But everything is here for you to read up on and get familiar with, and we'd be happy to answer any specific technical questions that you may have on upcoming changes. So that is it for our formal presentation, and we'd be happy to field questions now.
Okay, thank you, Marcus and Mohammed. Do you have anybody having a question to Marcus or Mohammed? Okay, Frank. Frank, you are muted.
Thank you. I have just one question in reference to, I think it was in reference to fraud. It was mentioned that trustees, there was a form coming out to trustees that they could provide some concerns around fraud. Was that, did I hear that correctly?
There will be an email sent subsequent to this meeting by BDO to each member, which will give you a forum to report any questions, concerns, or fraud that you may be aware of.
And how did that decision come about only for trustees? Does it get extended to others in the board?
Well, we don't report directly to the board. We report to this committee. So, but of course, if there's any concerns, we'd be happy to speak to the board, and maybe I can talk to Brian about that offline, and we can certainly extend the scope of that email if it's required.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was wondering how that can be implemented on a ground level. I mean, it can become an extensive process, but I was just wondering the value of what that might be. I mean, from a top level, board of trustees, really, we're at 20,000 feet, so we don't really see down at 100 feet, you know. So we wouldn't really know about that. But I think Julie has her hand up.
I think Julie have an answer for that.
So through the chair, and thank you, Trustee Frank Kosolo, what we do through the entire audit time with BDO is we take questions, they interview us as well, and we provide information through the management area on fraud. This is just another layer of invitation where I will reach out to all the committee members to get your approval so that BDO can reach out to you so that you have your own line of interaction with them should you want to talk to them about anything or bring up any concerns you have. So there is a process in place where management and senior managers are asked about fraud, and that's input into the audit process as well.
Okay, so that process there is a process that is already established or is in consideration?
So through the chair, the questions on fraud from management is always a part of the audit process, and it has always been there every year. There's also been different ways of input from trustees. Not sure if the members of the committee, the audit committee, sometimes it is messaging back and forth during the presentation of this year-end plan during the meeting. We tried that a few times, but it was a decision that providing that forum for open communication outside of the public session is also an important line for committee members should they want to talk to the auditors.
Okay, so just through you, Mrs. Chairman, so that process there is established currently or will be established?
So through the chair, this was done last year with our auditors BDO, and this would be the second year we're doing that. So it is an established process already with the committee members that were on the committee last year.
Okay, and I'm also referring to the management that they have this opportunity to do the same with BDO if they wish.
So through the chair, management's input to fraud has always existed.
Okay.
So that's always been there.
Okay, and that's always existed for the direct link between management and BDO?
Through the
Or
chair with
whoever's there.
any of our external auditors that we've had in previous years. That
Okay.
link has always been there.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Anybody else having a question? Anybody else? So if no other question, there is a motion to go. I'm going to read the motion that the audit committee recommend to the Board of Trustees that the audit service plan for the year end August 31st, 2022 be approved. Moved by Frank. Okay. Anybody oppose? It's carried. Then we are moving forward. Notice of motion, nil. Additional business, nothing. Question asked by audit committee members only. Anybody having questions? Anybody have a question? So it looks like Julie, there is no other questions. So we are going to be in camera.
All right. So we need a motion to move to in camera.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Move to in camera, Rory. Okay. Anybody oppose? It's carried. So
Thank you. And through the chair, at this time in the meeting, a lot of the members are going to move to another room that's in camera. So we will be removed from this main session that is live streamed. We will be going to in camera until the items have been completed. And then we will be returning to the open session for anyone who may be watching our live stream meeting. At this time, we ask those of you here in the meeting who would be leaving, you're free to leave the meeting. We want to extend our thank you to Marcus and Mohammed for being with us this evening. And for everyone else, I have assigned you to the breakout room that you will be attending. Once I open those rooms, you will receive a message to join. So please click on the join. You will be either in the in-camera session that's going to start, or you will be placed in a waiting room and you will wait there until we call you into the in-camera meeting. Okay, I will be the one who will bring you into the meeting or let you out again. But for those of you who would not be in camera with us, you are free to leave the meeting this evening now that we move on. So thank you very much. Again, thank you, Marcus and Mohammed, for being here.
You're welcome.
thank you.
Thank you.
We are now back in the open session. Thomas, you're on mute right now.
Okay. We need a motion to approve the report from in camera. So move by Rory. Oh, okay. Okay.
Sorry, through the chair, Thomas, do you mind repeating what you may have said while you were on mute? I think you were stating the business conducted in camera.
Yeah. The motion to approve the report from in camera. Whatever we discuss in camera session. So bring it to the open session and we need to approve it, right?
Right. So you approved minutes. We received 4 audit reports and approved the internal audit plan.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay. Moved by Rory and nobody opposed, so it's carried. Now, the item number, last one, I think that is a happy one. Adjourn for this meeting. Adjourn for this meeting. And thank you, Kevin, for all your work, and Ray for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your support and
Okay.
your continued support with us in Different Peel. Thank you.
Okay. And good night for audit committee members.
So did you get the
Glory and
motion to
Nora.
adjourn, Thomas?
Yeah, move to adjourn. Frank.
Okay,
Anybody oppose? No, I think nobody opposed that. Thank you.
great.
Okay, good night to everybody.
Have a great night.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Night, everyone.
I'm reading